Hembre limón. Bonjour, buenos dias. Need the word to encourage you, and the things that I learned in church years ago still come to mind, like saying the Lord's Prayer, 23rd, the Lord is my shepherd. With me. Let's see if I remember. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. I remember my conversion experience. I was 16, a child, but it made a really good impression on me, strong. And I think in one of the videos, I explained to you how I went to this house prayer meeting, and this lady laid hands on me, and she had what I now know because she had the shakes, so she had Parkinson's, and said that the Lord would use me, and and then that's how, because at that time I was going to a Catholic school. My whole family was Catholic, like everybody around here is, and but there is some Protestant churches and stuff here as well. And I went full blast, it was like catechism. You went to prayer meeting and you start reading the Bible, and then you learn, and of course that went on through most of my life to about, I don't know, I stopped going to church maybe 10 years ago, but throughout the whole time when I was young, family, I was in church, and when I was talking about my conversion experience for the longest time, and so the all the stuff that I learned, the songs, because you had to memorize a lot of things. So we used to memorize the Psalms, and Psalm 23. Every so often it'll come to mind, and the words are comforting because remember what we're going through right now with this craziness. You need an anchor. You need an anchor because, like I said, I don't know how anybody does it without believing in something, because when you don't, that's when you're like grasping at straws. But if you do have faith, then it kind of centers you and holds you. Remember, our forefathers, they had the word, and that kind of carried them, and the songs, the spirituals, and all that. In times of despair, you need an anchor. All right, so today I'm trying to get rid of stuff in my kitchen before I go. I'm only going to be gone for 5 days, but I'm trying to use the perishables so that I don't have a lot of things in the house. I realize is that I have a lot of veggies, as I always do. So I already put some stuff in the freezer. So today I have eggplant and Greta and whoever else is watching. When you're cooking, it's always good to take stock of what you have around and see what you can come up with. I found that I have a cabbage, so I might have to do this one separately. But I have zucchini, which is something I don't usually find here, but so I'm going to use that. I do have some eggplant, so it looks like I'm going to be making ratatouille today to get rid of my veggies. I had bought one red onion and I forgot to use it in my pasta salad the other day, so we're going to use that in there. And I have a bunch of tomatoes left over from the burger bar. So I got tomatoes. Now the lettuce, I don't like lettuce, but I'm gonna use the tomatoes in that. So it's gonna be a ratatouille. And then I have two small pies and two small snapper fish. So we're gonna use that, but we're gonna do that at the end. It's Palm Sunday. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm sure, people are going to be doing all kinds of stuff here. So if I wasn't doing this, I would go to Palm Sunday, to Casco Viejo, Santa Maria de la Antigua. That is that big cathedral. So to do my ratatouille, I need a little bit of marinara that I realized I don't have. I thought I did. So I'm going to do a quick marinara sauce, meaning I have to have tomatoes. I have dry basil. I don't have fresh basil. Albahaca. Hopefully I have some fresh basil. Oregano, yes, we're gonna need a lot of that. If you need basil though, to make. But anyway, that's what I was saying those words, honestly, from Psalm 23. And that is something I talk to people about when I'm encouraging them, right? And I said, whatever you're going through, the word says when you go through the valley, through meaning it's a walk, you don't stand still, right? Good morning, Christine. Hola. The video is not clear? Oh, lo siento. Is anybody else not seeing me correctly? She said the video isn't clear. And this is the camera. I can wipe it off a little bit. Is that better? Let me know, Christine. Okay, I am looking for albahaca. Well, usually I buy a fresh one. That's why we, oh, there it is. Hey, I found it. So we're good. All right. And finas hierbas. So we're doing a quick marinara. Yeah, you can see me. Okay, she said it wasn't clear, so I'm not sure what she was referring to. So this friend who was here, one of my Spanish students, she was visiting, and she's leaving today. And she went to the store and bought a bunch of things. So now, as happens a lot, she's like, can I bring you whatever I have left? So she came and she had this thing of tomato sauce. She had olive oil and she had salmon that she bought from, one of these stores. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm the recipient of these folks who are leaving. Or come to Panama for a little bit. Yeah, if I visit somewhere, I'm not going to the store and doing no shopping. I might get water, fruit, or something like that, but I don't usually, So we're doing a little bit of marinara. I'm only doing enough for today because my freezer is full. And some sisters end up buying a freezer so they can store all their stuff. I don't want to do that. I don't want to store that many things. Remember, minimalist living. I don't want a bunch of things. So I am grateful to get what they giving me, but I don't want to go and stock up, because what that means, I'm going to be entertaining and I don't want to get caught in that again, which I'm doing a little bit of it. Fridays at Maggie's one. It's such a nice thing, but I need to simplify it some more. Because this week I said, I'm only doing burgers, it's not going to be work. But then, I had to form the burgers. I had to make the potato salad, boil the potatoes, and then I made veggie burgers. That takes a little time. I was like, what happened? I thought I was just doing something simple. So I'm thinking next month, I'm going to do like Italian, making like a big veggie lasagna. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. But I always forget to stream it live. And I think I don't want to do that because I feel like it's kind of intrusive, for the people. Jokingly, I said, okay, if I take pictures, nobody's looking for anybody. Like on the FBI Most Wanted. They thought it was funny. But, okay. Usually I put a little, some carrots in it. We're not going to do that today. This is going to be short and sweet because I need to get the ratatouille in the oven because the fish will take no time. They are throwing in the sink, and we don't have to marinate the fish that much. And there is a button on that on the first page of my YouTube channel I just discovered the other day. It's called Community. And some people have left messages that I have missed. So if you have, I apologize. I'm going to... And this lady said, vegetable dishes? Yes, because I love veggies. Okay, so this is we did garlic and onion. I always start my dishes with that, right? Now the Holy Trinity that we cook refer to has celery in it. Oh, can you see? All right, I'm trying to get, oh, there it is. The Holy Trinity, but I'll complicate this today. So I have a tomato that was sitting there, so we put that in there. Or you can buy Roma tomatoes. All right. Get a knife with teeth. Makes it easy. So we're gonna let the tomato really get soft. Then we add the wine because the white wine is the key to making really good marinara. And of course I like fresh basil. I gotta look in because I have a bunch of herbs. Maybe I do have some. But in true Panama form, they do not last a long time. So I always end up throwing herbs away, which hurts my heart. All right, we're gonna let this soften. So this doctor said she's going to show me, she's gonna help me start a patio garden. Oh my God. I'm so excited. As I said, I'm scared too because I'm not good with plants. But maybe she can show me how to grow some basil and oregano, and cilantro. When I was in New York, I lived on the third level of a house, and the lady had a little square patch in her yard, and she would grow the most beautiful peppers, corn. She did all kinds of things, and I was in awe, right? Because I don't know how to do any of that. All right, so the good thing about Ratatouille is that it holds, and then you can freeze it, right? And then you get it back. You know, you thaw it out when you want to use it again. And it holds its taste beautifully, right? All right. Let me see if I have albahaca. I see I got peppers, parsley, romero, tomillo. Okay, no, okay, so that's good. All right, good. So I don't have, you know, basil, which is fine. All right. So we're gonna deglaze this. We call that deglazing with some white wine. We still have some wine from the party that people had bought. This is a, what kind of wine is this? Vino Verde. Okay, I don't know what, it doesn't say, but usually we would do like a Chardonnay or a Sauvignon. I have half a bottle of Riesling, but I don't want to use that. Because, you know, you can't have cooking wine. Remember that in the States, the wine that was like in the big gallon jar, that was cooking wine. And if you ever worried about, oh my God, it's alcohol, if you let it cook and it evaporates, then you're not, you know, drinking alcohol. Ooh, and it's Semana Santa. You're not going to hell or anything, right? Oh boy. All right. So while this is evaporating, I'm gonna season it. We have garlic and onion, mandatory, right? Mandatory for whatever you're cooking. Paprika, just regular. Adobo. And while it's gonna cook down, then we're gonna cut the veggies and throw everything in the oven. So now, the herbs, this is oregano. In my mind, you can't ever have too much oregano, just because I love it so much. Now you see it's already evaporated. Finas hierbas, meaning fine herbs, it's a mixture. Finas hierbas is almost like herb de Provence. Really good. All right, so we did oregano, that, and then the basil, we put a little bit here now, and then a little bit at the end. Because when you're cooking with fresh, you do put it towards the end. All right, and I have some tomato paste. Of course, I need a little bit more red, so putting a little bit of tomato paste in here. Let it cook down a little bit. The wine, for me, for my recipe, that is a requirement. Now I don't have stock, but I do have some hot water. And remember, this is what I only needed for the ratatouille. So I'm going to move it to the back, let it cook down. I'm going to throw in there a pepper for the taste. You know how I use pepper? It's just for the taste that comes from the skin. This is not habanero, this is sweet pepper, but for what I want, it will do. Okay? Yep. Some people put a little sugar in there, but I'm not putting sugar in mine. Don't need any extra sugar. No lo necesitamos. Okay. Where's the top? I think that's not the top. All right. And the heat down. Okay. So in terms of vegetables, you can use whatever you want. The tomatoes in the ratatouille I put towards the end. And I have jalapeno, which I love. So I am going to put, you don't have to. If you don't like heat, don't put the jalapeno. But jalapeno, it also enhances the taste of your dish. So if you can stand a little bit of heat, it will go a long way. And I tell people, this is a easy pepper to start using if you want to start experimenting a little bit with hot peppers. Okay? All right. And this is just about building flavor. So if I had a big pot, I probably would add the cabbage in it, but the cabbage does not really go with the ratatouille. But if it's for me, who cares? All right, remember the seed is what contains the heat in any pepper, if it's a hot pepper, right? My knife needs to be sharpened. It feels dull today. I wonder if I have a sharpener. I think I might. Oh. Somebody came to the party today, this week, and she said, I had a gift for you. And in the bag, she had this pistachio cream, Turkish. And it had a sticker on it that says security or whatever. So I guess, I don't know if they opened it. Yep, they sure did. You can bring anything anymore for them not to test it to see if it's maybe a bomb or something. Oh boy. It's sweet. Turkish cream. Pistachio cream. It tastes really good. I have to see what you use it with. You know, I don't eat sweet, so, but it is good. Now we go nice on toast. Yeah. Oh, pistachio. I love pistachio. Any of you used pistachio cream? I don't know what it is. I've never used it. The other thing I have here is I have some leftover squash, which is very little, but I like the squash roasted. So I'm going to put it in the oven. And I'm going to use this. Ooh, it's still hot. I usually would, I think I use all my herb oil, but I'll put the herbs in. So we're gonna let our fish sit on a bed of ratatouille and roasted squash. Or you could use sweet potatoes, or you could use regular potatoes. Okay? You can. But I'm in love with squash, so even though they have not looked so good in the stores lately, you know, they're kind of pale. They're not that beautiful orange, which is what I look for. Not a lot, so it's going to be perfect. And this dish, I can eat today, tomorrow. Today is a day I'm going to be working on getting all my stuff together for the accountant, for my taxes. And all my consultation and Spanish classes. Oh, I got to report all that. I need to find a better system to track so that when it comes time for me to report, it's a lot easier. Alright, so we're gonna put a little bit of oil, and remember I still have the oil from the poached tuna, so I've been using that. Yeah, nothing goes to waste. We recycle. Alright, so here we're gonna put dry herbs, right? So albahaca, no, but oregano seed. The other day I was listening to this person talking about, oh, this miracle herb. And I'm like, which herb is that? This is parsley. And then she started talking about oregano. And I'm like, oh, we've been using that forever. So now you're telling me it's got some kind of magic power? Okay. I have some fresh thyme that I'm gonna chop and put in there, and a little bit of rosemary, and then salt and pepper, and that's all I need. All right? Not too much. Don't ever want to overpower your dish with the spices, the herbs. But you need to befriend thyme. It's your friend. It's always going to elevate your dish. Always. All right? And a little rosemary. I bought rosemary at the farmer's market. This probably cost me 50 cents. And what I was going to use, what I'm going to use today also, that's enough. Don't need a lot of rosemary. If you are cooking meat or some gamey meat, yes, you need it. But for veggies, go easy because it's strong. Okay? And then I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lime juice and then we'll be good to go. Always think what you're putting in your food, that's all. As you build flavor. A little salt. And again, everybody's talking about how salt is not what causes, now they say, it's not what causes high blood pressure, it's calcification. I'm telling you, take everything with a grain of salt. Years ago, they come back and said, oh, it's not cholesterol that causes heart attack, it's inflammation. Okay, so now the newest thing is, oh, it's not salt that causes high blood pressure, it's calcium buildup. Who knew? All right, it goes in the oven. It won't take too long to cook. All right, let's go back to chopping. Let's check on our marinara. Yep, it needs to cook down some more. Oh, I forgot to put the acid. A little bit of one out. Oregano is done. I looked in the fridge and I have a bunch of lime. I don't know what happened. You know, I was gonna make lemonade at the party and I guess I forgot. So I squeeze a little bit, just gonna stabilize all the taste. Alright, so now we have, let's see what else am I going to put in this ratatouille. I have a carrot, just throw whatever you have in there, as long as you have eggplant, you're good to go. There is no ratatouille without eggplant, period. Period. Okay. And I'm going to cut everything a little bit small so it can cook faster. You know, I started thinking when I was growing up, I was kind of sheltered from the world, I guess. I really had no idea that the world was so wicked. And I had a very easy childhood. My parents were divorced, but we had community. The aunties, the neighbors, everybody was involved in my education and keeping an eye on me. And I guess that makes me very grateful that nothing bad happened to me. I wasn't molested or anything like that, which is something that is very common. And my mom was out a lot, but because, she worked outside the home building businesses, and I think I explained in one video, maybe one of my podcasts, that my mother had a very, wasn't such a happy childhood because my grandfather kind of favored certain kids over the others. So my mom wasn't one of the favorites. So that kind of traumatized her a little bit. So when she grew up, she decided to make something of herself, kind of like to prove, her worth. And in doing so, she really wasn't present a lot. But as I tell people, sometimes God sends an angel to stand in the gap for you, right? And the angel that stood in the gap for me was my neighbor. She was a widow, and she took me under her wing. And I was a really good child, very compliant. I didn't get in trouble. I wasn't mouthy, I was very respectful. So she's the one who kind of taught me how to keep house, how to be a lady. I remember her talking to us, it wasn't just me, there were some other kids in the neighborhood, about how to sit, to cross your legs and stuff like that. And I think even when I had my first period, my mother wasn't around. It was her who, took care of us. But so I am grateful for all the people in my life. So that's why, I try to be for people. I don't think I'm standing in the gap for anybody, but the spirit of helping and giving was birthed from my interaction with my neighbor. And she became like a second mom to me. And everything, I guess my love of cooking and everything came from her. So, standing in the gap is like a ministry, right? And I think everybody should understand the power of stepping in and helping someone. One of my things that I really would love to do if I ever became a millionaire is to help single moms, because I certainly appreciate how difficult it is for someone to take care of children on your own. All right, I think just a little bit more and then it will be ready. My marinara, it tastes good. Now I think I can take that pepper out. So what the marinara is going to do is going to balance all the flavors. So I'm going to turn the heat off there and add a pat of butter. And of course, if you're vegan, you can skip that step. Monte au beurre is something that we do in French cooking. All right. So we're good there. Marinara is done. And I don't have any herb oil, so we're gonna have to season this ratatouille on our own. Oh, that's something else I need to ask someone to bring me, another peeler. The ones that are here are just not that good. And I've had this thing, I don't know how many years. I don't think it's the same one that I went to school with. A little bit of color left on is good. It's just going to make the dish even more colorful. I have peppers, green bell peppers, but I'm not using them today. Oh, I'm hoping they can last. Maybe I should. Gone 5 days. And you know, certain things, people say, why don't you freeze your herbs? So I'm gonna try to freeze. I got a big bunch of mint. So I'm gonna try to put that one in the freezer. And my peeler is getting dull too. I said I'm going to make a video about this scamming thing. I'm going to put that in class. That was terrible. You were trying to scam that lady right in front of me. I'm like, oh, how do I know? We're not doing that. And you know, when you cook this dish, you know, these don't take a long time to cook, right? But you need eggplant. Oh, I love eggplant. And we can do eggplant parmesan one time, but the only thing is that you're going to have to use cheese. I was telling someone that I was watching a YouTube the other day. I think it's called 20 plants that are high in protein. Some were fungi. But ingredient, they say you can use cheese. And I don't remember what it is. If anybody remembers. You know, vegans have all kinds of things that they use to replace cheese. Is it a hemp? Is it hemp? No, I don't think so. But anyway, I was like, okay. He said it tastes like cheese. I found a company here that is selling, what is it? Jackfruit, but they're selling the thing that we eat inside. I have never cooked it. That's the one they said tastes like chicken, I think. But see, my philosophy is, if I'm not gonna eat chicken, I don't want to keep looking for things that taste like chicken. I like the real stuff. I'm sorry. No shade. No judgment. I just would rather have some chicken breast and be done with it. And I don't believe it's gonna hurt me either. Right? Alright. So that's that. And also I had that red onion like I told you I bought. And I forgot to use it, so we're gonna cook this in there. Throw it in there. You're supposed to put red onion in there anyway. Red onion is good in a lot of things. And that chickpea salad, I made a pasta salad. That would have gone really good in there. Every so often I forget ingredient. It was still good. I've been eating that lesser pasta salad, and I keep checking myself to see if it makes me swell. Not as much as rice and bread, which I haven't had. I'm being good. Now let's just hope when I go to the store and I pass by the bakery, that baker doesn't come out with saying, "Oh, I have empanadas hot off." I'm like, why are you talking to me, sir? Don't talk to me and tell me about your fresh empanadas. No me hablas. Because if I don't use this here, it's gonna go bad. And that's not gonna be pretty. That's a lot of onions. But onions never hurt anything, right? Nope. The opposite. Oh, that's good. And then we have the tomatoes we're gonna put towards the end. Let's see. Have a little bit of pepper in here. I'm gonna, that's what you do. But the pièce de résistance, you guys, that I want to use in this ratatouille is the okra. So I'm going to let it start and put the okra a little bit later so that it doesn't overcook, because okra cooks really fast. I saw another way yesterday that this girl uses okra. She says that she squeezes them, and then cut the top and then cut it in half, and then season them up and put them in the oven. I have used them in the oven, but I have not, pressed on them. That's very good. Maybe I'll put a little red and green pepper in here. Oh boy. I think I forgot where I was going, that I was going to be going somewhere and bought all this stuff. Because that's what happens. When I go to Merca, I forget. I just get so emotionally drawn to all the colors and all the things that I see. And I'm like, oh, I need this, I need this. But I feel like I can eat these before I leave. I can just sit there and snack on them. The yellow and the red, not the green one. And some lady said the same thing. I said, we like peppers except the green one. I'm like, oh, why? Are they considered the stepchildren? All right. Ooh. Yes. I didn't get a chance to wash them, so I wipe it down. I wipe it down. You will never go wrong eating veggies. Just wash them, clean them, and you're good. That's why I prefer to put my veggies in the oven instead of just squeezing the life out of them in a juicer. And then what do you do with the pulp? It's like the pulp is a good part. Plus, I don't like to eat anything raw so much, because I don't know what kind of little boogers could be hiding somewhere in the leaves. But when I put you in the oven, most of you are gonna go bye-bye. Yes. You gotta use judgment sometimes. When something new comes on and everybody starts running, oh my God, this is the new thing. Think about it before you jump on the bandwagon. What are you putting in your body? Every time you pick up your spoon or your fork, it's like, what am I eating? Is it good for me? Is it good for my gut? Is it good for my brain? Yeah. Easy, simple questions. All right. So let's season this. Put it in the oven. Look at that. And remember, towards the end, we're gonna dump that marinara in there. All right. So we're gonna put some of our oil. Salt, pepper. Oh, I gotta put some garlic in there too. So for the lady who asked me for a vegetable dish, this is one. Okay? And some adobo. And adobo does have some salt, so always keep that in mind. I think I need some turmeric. Curcuma. Yes, turmeric is good for you, right? You know, it's good. It's an anti-inflammatory. So whenever you can use it in your food, go ahead and do that. Just don't overdo it, okay? When you overdo anything in excess is a no bueno. Let me go down here and get rid of these first. Albahaca, a little bit of basil. Yeah. Oh, I didn't put the basil in there. Okay, that's fine. Parsley, perejil. The star is going to be oregano. Mucho oregano. A nice amount. Okay. And then you have fine herbs, which is a mixture. Finas hierbas. Okay? And then a little bit of salt. We can always adjust towards the end, which we will. But remember, always go light, and then it's a lot easier to add later. Acid, squeeze some lime juice. All right. Now, I'm gonna add some garlic. Fresh garlic. You cannot cook without fresh garlic. And I was telling the sisters the other day when I was doing the cooking class. And I said, what do you use? Like, oh, I use garlic, onion powder and garlic powder. You know, I stop in my track. I'm like, and then they're like, okay, I retract that. I'm like, no powdered thing in the bottle. She said, well, why not? I said, do you know how long this thing has been on the shelves? And you know when they put it in there and what they added to it to preserve it? Why would you do that and not use the one that the Lord had made from the earth? And then one sister said to me, she's like, well, these are from China. They're not that good. I'm like, oh boy. You know, I can do what I can, but when you go to a store and you're paying an arm and a leg for something they tell you is organic, do you really believe that? I don't. I don't trust a thing these people tell you. You do the best you can and pray over the food. Because they're not telling you the truth. When I'm reading a label and they say, oh, this one has so many grams of what, I don't believe that either. I do not. But I have to believe that the water that's coming from the sink has been treated. It's not going to kill me. I don't know that it's not. I choose to believe it because I don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing that is out of your control. And you also hear about this bottled water. I said, nothing bottled about it. It's just regular water. Okay, well. I boil my water and I put it in a jar. That's how I drink. I don't have bottled water here. Now when I have a party, I have guests, yes. But on a day-to-day basis, I boil my water and then I put it in a jar, and that's what I drink. See, lots of garlic. Whew. Yes. So I can't be in a rush and not do that. Now I'm going to put a little bit of crushed red pepper, just because I prefer a little bit of heat. But if you don't, leave it out. And we're going to mix that and throw it in the oven. Ooh, look at this. By Quarky, that's the beauty. Okay, I think my ooh, looks so pretty. It needs a little bit more, but let's see. Let's put that in first. Now, somebody here in the audience last time said, don't use any aluminum, just use parchment paper. So I'm going to make you happy and use parchment paper. I really don't worry about the aluminum, but don't want to hurt some people's sensibilities. And I do happen to have some parchment paper. If I didn't, it would have been aluminum, okay? Now you see, this is going to cook down. By the time I finish eating this week, I might have a little bit left. And I'll just put it in my freezer and squeeze and find a little spot for it. Because let me tell you, my freezer is full. Ooh, oh, that's so pretty. That is so pretty. Look at that. Oh, let me take a picture. See. All right. You got to admire your handiwork, right? Take your time and cook your food. You're not going to go anywhere here in Panama and find this, I can guarantee you. Okay? So don't dismiss the effort. So when it starts cooking down, then I'm going to chop the tomatoes that I have left. Again, trying to use everything I have so I don't leave anything in the fridge. Let's see, I think this needs to cook a little bit more. So good. I love squash. Absolutely love squash. All right. We're still not ready. So now I'm going to chop off all the leftover tomatoes. I don't like lettuce anyway, so I don't feel bad throwing the lettuce out. Do not care for lettuce. I don't know why, but to me it's like an empty food. I don't want to waste my time eating empty food. No bueno. Right? So the tomato is good. And one sister was here, she said, I'm allergic to tomatoes because it aggravates her arthritis. She said she's fine as long as she doesn't eat it. Yes, and I read that there's something in the tomato that tends to aggravate your arthritis. It's like inflammatory, which is like, ooh, who knew? You know, if you know something, you do what you can, but don't obsess over anything. And that's why I just don't ascribe to this strict diet. Oh, this can pass my lips. That's, no, I don't do that. You ever go to dinner with somebody who's on a strict diet and then they start grilling the waiter? Well, do you have that? Can I have it without this, without that? Oh my gosh. I remember going someplace with my sister one time in the state. Yeah, she was younger. And she was on one of those no fat thing. So here we go to Starbucks. She's like, can I have no foam, um, fat-free almond milk with, and then she went on a long list. And the poor little worker was staring at her, trying to figure out how she's going to enter all that. No, no this, no this, no that. And I'm like, why don't you just drink water and be done with it? Stop it. But I don't know. I think people feel a certain way when they restrict themselves. You know, there are certain things if you restrict, it's gonna make you feel better. You don't want to overdo salt, right? You don't want to be eating a bunch of fatty stuff. Well, and this person said, animal fat is the best form of fat. I'm like, okay, you can believe what you want, but I'm not gonna sit here and eat steak every day. I probably would gag. I don't eat beef like that except in oxtail now. You put an oxtail in front of me, I'm eating it. And I don't even have to go to confession the next day because I'm like, I deserve that oxtail. I don't get it often, only if I'm making a dish. But I think we need to just ascribe to a healthy lifestyle. You move, you drink your water, you get sleep, you get in the sun, because you know the sun has all kinds of beautiful properties, and you know, have hobbies, enjoy your friends, because all that is part of the health continuum. Okay? It's not just restricted. I saw a lady one time, she was a model, she said, I have, what is the cereal they used to have? Like a whole grain cereal, and then she said she has 12 raisins. I said, what? You count the raisins? She counted the raisins. Well, she was like this. She was like skin and bone. And the next thing I know, they said she had died. Listen. My point is, don't overdo it. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Food is to be enjoyed. I call eating one of the pleasures of life. Happy Palm Sunday. And, you know, all these restrictions, it's not good. Not good. No bueno. You're going to die anyway. And I said, okay, when you restrict this, you restrict that, you're just going to make a good-looking corpse. Because when it's your time, okay? Now, don't abuse your body. Some people abuse their bodies, right? You know, you smoke, you drink, you're doing all kind of things that you know are bad for you. And then you go crazy. Oh, I can't have that, I can't have that. Like, well, might as well eat air, huh? No bueno. You're never gonna hear me tell you to do anything like that. All right. So here is our okra. Ooh, I gotta put the okra somewhere else because I have to rinse it first. Okay, no. You know, every so often I'm like, I need a bowl, I need this, I need that. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That means I'm gonna be adding more stuff into this kitchen. And I don't wanna do that. Yeah, Fredessa, do you have a garden? Yeah, this sister says she's gonna teach me how to make one on my patio, and I'm like, oh. But definitely, when she's doing any of her instruction, I will record it. So if you like me and you like have a black thumb, which I proudly say that I do have. All right. So where are you today, Fredessa? Are you in Vietnam? All right. When I buy okra, I do not like the big ones because the big ones, you know, the skin is tough, right? But because of the ratatouille, I'm going to cut mine about this size, all right? But as I said, you can cut them lengthwise and then season them, toss them in like nice spices. Someone said to me this week she was looking for Chinese 5-spice and she couldn't find it. I said, you know, if you go to El Dorado here, which is Chinatown, I'm pretty sure they'll have it. I love 5-spice Chinese mix. But I don't use it because I don't really cook Asian. But I remember in school, we even make food from, is it Bulgaria? You know, we went worldwide. We made wonton soup. We made wonton. They taught us how to make that broth using egg whites. The egg white serves as a clarifier to make the broth as clear as you see it. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. But I had bought the okra, so I don't have a choice but to use it. I love okra though. Okra with oxtail, woo, yes. Great combo because it's got the bone, the taste of the bone. Yes. You know, bone broth, people get it not for the taste, for the nutrients, but the taste of bones with this, with a little bit of meat, priceless. Priceless. So Fredessa, where are you today, lovely? I'm excited to check out Guatemala. I know I'm going to tower over everybody because everybody is really short in those parts of the world. But I booked a walking tour, and then I booked a tour of the Mayan people. So we're going to have to take a boat. It's like a 14-hour day. We can take a boat and go to those islands, I guess. Island villages. So, and then I asked the hotel, I'm like, do you have a shuttle service? And they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna cost $70, just let us know how many. And I'm like, $70 for a shuttle ride? Ooh, that's steep. But I got it for cheaper through booking.com. So we'll see how that works. That's what happened when I was in Rwanda. I booked this driver through booking.com. I did like about 1:30 in the morning, and he was nowhere to be found. I didn't have Wi-Fi because the airport was closed. There was no SIM card vendor. And then the guy said, no, you have to leave. You can't stay in the airport. You got to get out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm standing outside of the airport with no Wi-Fi, with my luggage. 2 in the morning. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? Right? I could not get in touch with the guy. He could not get in touch with me because I didn't have Wi-Fi. And then out of the corner of my eye, this beautiful girl comes to me and she's like, do you need some help? Would you like to use my hotspot? And I'm like, oh, you see, That was the angel, right? And then at that time, I didn't even know how to use a hotspot. She took the phone out of my hand, she put her information in there, and then the messages started coming. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, thank you, Lord, for sending your angel, because that's what it was. In a strange country in Africa, and I'm like, everybody speaks French. The police said, oh, nobody speaks French. I could get by because I'm a French speaker, but oh my goodness, when that little girl came, I felt God's presence to say, here I am, I'm sending you some help. But that whole Rwanda adventure was interesting. Oh my God. But, and then when I finally, there's a whole saga about how I got to the Airbnb. Maybe I'll tell that story one time. And then this young man, I think it was about 5 o'clock by the time 4:30 or 5 in the morning, by the time we found the Airbnb. And then there was a young man who came the next day saying, oh yeah, I managed this for the owner, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him and I said, could you please take me somewhere to get a SIM card? So well, did I do that first? I think I was trying to use my phone, but that wasn't working. I tried to order food. I couldn't order food because they have, what do they call their deliveries? Like Glow or something? You had to have a local number for them to bring you food. So I almost starved for a couple of days. But inside the Airbnb, there was something that the previous people had left over. So I drank water and there was some crackers or something. You do what you can. And you know, it's not like here in Panama where you can use your credit card. No, you had to have, is it Momo or something? So you could use, oh my God. And then finally I'm like, okay, you need to take me somewhere where I can get some money exchange. And then, you know, you're in a strange country and somebody's going to take you to a place to exchange money. You're just praying the whole time because you don't know if it's legit or not. Whew. When I got there, they were all Asians, you know, like Muslim, Arab people who were managing the money, you know, taking your dollar and you figure out what the exchange was. And oh my goodness. And then I decided to I go, okay, I need to find something to eat. So once I got some cash, some local money in hand, so I just walked down. And this is when the staring started in Rwanda. It was like everybody was just staring. Listen, there is staring and there is staring. This was nothing I had experienced before. That level of staring. It's like, oh my God. And then I found a place, a little restaurant, so I go in there, and I think they knew a few words of English or French. I don't know why I spoke that then. Then I look at the menu, so I ordered something, just like a wrap. They have a name for it in that part of the world. So for the next few days I was there, I lived on that. So I ate one and I ordered one to go. Then I bought water and I was good to go. I did not enjoy my Rwanda experience, I have to tell you. And it was beautiful. I found this guy. He was like a guide and he took me around and took me to that museum that really destroyed me when I went in that museum, that genocide museum. Ooh. I walked out of there and I'm like, I could not live here. Not with those ghosts. I'm like, I can't. But you know, I spoke to some American, they're like, oh, that museum, that doesn't bother me. And I'm like, oh, it does me, sis. So enjoy. I took a safari with this young man, and again, by faith, it was just me and him in that 4x4 in the middle of that desert looking place. And I'm like, you know, If anything happens to me in that area, no one will know. They'll never find my body. Oh, but it wasn't my time. So I made it. But I was telling a friend the other day, the trip back from World War I, that was one of the longest trips. You want to go to Guatemala too? Oh, good. Oh, we talked about that, remember? Fredessa? Yes. I'm going to experience Easter. I'll be there for Good Friday. I want to see what the procession is like. We had a procession here in Panama to start. I think Friday it was Dia Doloroso. It was a Samba day, supposedly for Mary, the mother of Jesus. And it was, I mean, the local station had it live after my guests left for my party. That's what I watched, and it was amazing. They had a woman who had won some singing competition. She sang a song, and it was just very nice. The first time I participated in the procession here in Panama, I mean, it's an emotional experience, right? Because, I was Catholic, so I am very familiar with all those traditions and the songs, and, everybody wearing black and just in a somber mood, and, it's just like beautiful. But what I had read is that there's like one country in Europe, maybe outside of Spain somewhere, where they have the best Semana Santa, Holy Week processions and stuff. And they said the second one was in Guatemala. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to go all the way to Spain. Let me check Guatemala out. So we'll see. I know I love Peru, which is where our current Pope is from. I think he's American, but he was in Peru for a long time too. And so, I love all that. I call it pageantry because the first time I saw I don't even know what you call the thing that they make and then they carry the picture of Jesus and Mary on it. I don't know, what do you call that? It's a procession, but they carry that, it's like a stage, and then they make that picture. And when they go boom, 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 yeah. I want to be sure I'm in that crowd to see that, yes. So, all right, let us rinse this, and then we're gonna get to the fish. All right, so we're gonna put this and the tomatoes in at the same time. I'm gonna bring the fish. I'm gonna cut off the heads and leave the heads for soup. All right, I think this is good. The squash. Yes, put those away. Yeah, I don't think I'm using that cabbage today. It's just, nope. I also have some celery in the fridge. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to chop the celery, put it in a baggie, because the celery you could just chomp on it. It's good for blood pressure control. So, ooh-wee, the squash. Very good. Dia doloroso, dia doloroso. All right. So we have two small snappers here. Aren't they pretty? They're all nice and clean. But I don't really like to cook snappers too much because it's so bony. I prefer to get the fillets, right? And if you, ooh, it's going down. If you deep fry the snapper, then it's not so bad, right? But if you have to cook it on the stove, which is where I'm going to cook it, so you're going to have a certain amount of bone, so you have to be careful, all right? So what I want to do, because I want to put the snapper on top of the ratatouille, so I'm going to cut off the head, but I'm going to cut off right here where it's chord, so that when I plate it, it's not going to be two big pieces of fish. Right? Yes. So when you go to the fish market and you say for them to clean it for you, they take all the scales and they do a good job. And they clean the inside. So I'm going to put the head in a baggie and put it in the freezer. All right. So, yep, we're gonna plate our fish like that on top of the ratatouille. All right, wash my hands. All right, let's check on our ratatouille. Maybe we can put, before we do that, let's get rid of this. Wash. The freezer. have salmon now. I have not soap in water. All right. Let's check. Yeah. Whew. Okay. Not pretty. Isn't that pretty? All right. Yep, it does have a little bit of heat, which is what I want from the beautiful. We're putting the marinara in there. So the marinara with the wine is gonna give this dish a lot of the flavor that it wants. Now look how much that is. Yeah. But this time I'm gonna cover it in foil. And oh, I'm sorry, whoever doesn't want me to use foil. So that it will cook faster. And then next time we get it out, we're going to check out the flavors, make sure all the flavors are on point. All right. And here we go. Okay. All right. About 15 minutes. So now we are going to clean this little fish here. A little bit of vinegar. I don't want to touch it again because then I'm going to get all fishy again. Yep. It's all clean. No guts. Let's rinse it. All right. So we're gonna use a bowl instead of this huge pan to season, right? All right. When I season, always a little bit of oil. Salt and pepper. Oh yeah, and we gotta do garlic again. So you see, once you get used to seasoning, it really does. Now for the fish, I'm putting dark soy, little bit. I got some Worcestershire sauce, or you could use fish sauce if you have them. I don't have fish sauce. You see a little poquitito. And of course, this fish responds to herbs as well, but not rosemary. Rosemary is a bit too strong for this fish. It's too delicate. All right? But you're definitely gonna put some parsley, fine herbs, a little dry herbs, not too much. I love oregano. You don't have to, but I have it here, so I'm gonna put a little bit, not a lot. You know, your dry herbs are your friend. It's not gonna do anything. Basil, no. Parsley, yes. Perejil. Okay. The one thing I want to put in there is a little bit of the skin of a pepper. This is a sweet pepper. This is not hot. I just want the flavor of the skin, right? Okay, and just chop. And I'm also going to put some fresh parsley. And of course, lots of lemon juice. Ooh. And of course, I'm not going to be able to taste anything. So I have to kind of eyeball. But I am going to use some jalapeno on this. Fresh herbs are your friend when you're cooking. Okay. Ooh, thyme, yes. And jalapeno. The jalapeno I'm going to put in the pan when I'm going to cook the fish. Also put some fresh thyme. Nothing fresh thyme. Nothing. Absolutely nothing when you're cooking. Okay? I don't know who came up with this, where they find it, when they found it, but it has been amazing. Right? So you see, I don't have to wear my weights today. Woo, que bonito. All right, some garlic. Siempre ajo. I use a lot of garlic in my cooking. And garlic is good for you, right? See. And then this lady with the book, that she's trying to sell all over the place. She's like, my mother used to make us boil garlic peel as a tea. I don't remember exactly what the ailment might have been, but we didn't have taste. Now she also talked about the onion peel, something to do with the onion peel. I don't know. I tell you. All right. So now that I have all that in there, it's not difficult. So now you're going to squeeze your lime, because the moment you put the lime, you're cooking the fish already. That is the goal with ceviche. Now, you want a generous amount, but don't overdo it. I think that's enough. Now, one thing I see whenever they serve somebody fish, they always have to squeeze lime on their fish. I don't do that. But I know it's a thing. And of course I can't taste this to see, I'm not gonna taste this fishy thing. No. Oh, and I still have my octopus in there in the fridge. I think I'm scared. I don't know how to cook it. This guy said it's like brain food. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh. Okay. So we can get remember the fish doesn't need to sit in the marinade. Usually we do 5 minutes, so I'll give it 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then we cook it easy. I'm gonna chop onions. I have enough garlic in there. I don't need to put any more garlic, but definitely onions. Oh my God, this girl gave me, she got a bag of potatoes. Whew. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Okay. There's one okra straggler. All right, let's see. Let's use the cast iron today. Ugh. We're gonna use the cast iron to cook our fish. It's gonna be good. The only reason I don't like to use a cast iron sometimes, they just splash a lot. It splashes around and makes a mess, and I don't like to be constantly cleaning. All right, I have some leftover onions. We're gonna use that. We don't have to worry about sauce or salsa for the fish. So when I finish with it, I'm just gonna load it up with some onions and stuff, and make sure we have the onions, so that when we plate it, we're gonna have the jalapeno and the onions on top. So that's gonna be enough. All right. Poquito de aceite. Y también mantequilla, butter. Now, in the oil, you can put some rosemary and then use the oil to baste the fish, right? You don't want to put the rosemary inside of it because it's so strong. But you do it like you are basting, a steak or something. Yeah, I can use the rest to top it, so that's good. I don't need to open this one. Or cut it. No es necesario. So, hierbas. We don't need any more of this. We'll keep the, I'm going to need another lemon, I'm sure, or lime. Limon, everything is limon here, whether it's sour orange or whatever, it's limon. Rosemary in the oil. You see, I'm not using a lot of oil because otherwise you would see, a lot of oil coming down, but that will do, right? Make sure we get all that flavor in the crevices where the fish is cut so that everything is nice and flavorful. Now I'm putting my one jalapeno in here. And then I don't want to lose my marinade either. So I'm going to put it in there on that fish. You know how you probably thought your fish was just salt and pepper? It's like, no. The fish spatula. You need one of those in your kitchen, okay? So you need a little bit more oil. Because it's sticking, and I don't want it to stick. This is called basting. You don't need to put that in there if you don't like a little heat. Okay? But for me, I like a little bit of heat. This is a snapper though, so it doesn't take a long time to cook. So I'm gonna flip it. And remember, I'm not looking for salsa. I don't want, you know, sauce. So I'm not putting any water in here, nothing. I'm just gonna taste the oil a little bit, making sure if I need to add a little salt. Seems like it has enough acid, so it's good. Woo! ¡Qué bonito! So I'm going to cover it just for a second, maybe a couple of minutes. Make sure it's cooked. Squeeze some lime juice and top it with the onions. And then we are done. Well, let's check on our ratatouille here. See, our okra is cooked. Look at this. Ooh-wee. So when you're looking for a different way to cook okra, oh my God, how much I have. So see, if you make this one day, you could eat that for the rest of the week. Right? You don't have to turn this down. You don't have to cook anything else. Now everything is cooked. I don't even have to put it back in there, but I will after I doctor it up. Look how pretty. So when you say you don't like okra because it's slimy, this is not slimy, okay? I'm telling you. This is the way this is one of the ways that I cook okra. All right, let's make sure everything is on point. Excellent. I don't think I need to put anything else in there. But I'm going to leave it uncovered in there for like 2 minutes and then we're going to plate it. Ooh. Looks so good. Ratatouille okra. Okra ratatouille. This is Maggie's recipe. Alright. I'm going to turn the oven off. Sissy, are you ready? The onion. Put it to the side. Woo. All right. And what I do with this one, I just put the jalapeno on top. just, because the onion, you don't want it to be cooked, because it's gonna serve as a garnish. All right. Now, when I grew up, people used to love to put tomato paste in everything. I don't like to do that, but right. So you want the onion to be kind of half cooked, al dente. So now I'm going to take the rosemary out because it's done its thing. That's it. Yes, yes, yes. All right. And squeeze some lemon. Yep. And we are done. Done, done, done. See, for me, the jalapeno is more of a garnish. A little bit of that rosemary. Don't want it in there. All right. Yes, the onion becomes like a garnish. All right, we ready to plate? I believe we're going to use a white plate because we want a contrast of that ratatouille in there. Sorry, I'm doing that. All right, I'm gonna use this plate. Ratatouille, come to mama, you beautiful thing. You know, it's just like when I'm talking to Marjorie, which is my my ficus tree. It's Marjorie. All right. So the ratatouille is soft. So you don't have to worry that it's dry. That's why you put the marinara in there, right? Yes, look at that. With the okra. Then we're gonna add the squash. Now I used the squash because it was in the fridge. It's not like it's part of the recipe, but the color matches, right? It goes with what we're cooking, so it was a no-brainer. Someone mentioned the other day, you see Maggie wipe her plate. Yeah, that's what you do. You don't want to serve somebody a dirty plate. That's a no-no. This is how you also can tell who's being trained and who hasn't been trained, right? Because of how they serve their food. Because plating was a whole course. Just like a sommelier to know what kind of wine you cook with what you serve with what dish. So now we're gonna put one of the fish steak right there. We have the onion as a garnish. Yes. And we garnish now with some lemon wedges, some lime wedges, and some parsley or cilantro. I don't have cilantro today, but something green, right? Yep, I have my lime. Now we can do wedges or we can do slices. We'll do wedges today. Right? This is nice and juicy. This and some parsley. Ooh, that's all I have left. Let's see if I can come up with something to stick in there. Which is what I want. I don't want to have a bunch of things left. So this will work. Okay. Donde lo pongo? A ver. Remember, plating is definitely a part of your cooking. You want to make sure you put the food in a way that's appealing to the eye. And if it's appealing to the eye, go straight to your brain and send a message saying, you want this. You want to eat this. Vamos. So you have ratatouille with okra and snapper cooked in the skillet. What do you think? Playing with my food. Playing with my food. And then when you are plating, you want to be sure your plate is big enough that you have some open spaces on the side. So you see sometimes somebody plates the food and the food is, you know, the fish tail is hanging over there. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Don't do that. All right, give me some thumbs up, ladies. Thank you. Give me some love. Hola, Maggie. It's been a while. Oh, Andrea, I haven't seen you in a while. Trying to declutter. Good for you. That takes time. Now you see, the ratatouille took a little time, but it's a labor of love. If you make that pot and then you put it in different containers, you're gonna eat it for weeks, right? See, and this will go nice with a glass of white Riesling. I think I'm gonna put a Riesling next to it before I take my picture. All right, guys, I know it was a bit of a long one, but hey, you can't rush perfection. And when I'm cooking, I'm in the zone. It is healthy, it's good for my mental health. So I'm good. Thank you for hanging with me and allowing me to share my love of cooking with y'all. All right? But right now I feel like some hot tea or some coffee. And this afternoon, it's all about taxes. I have to get that out. That's gonna take a little while because everything is kind of scattered. All right. Thank you guys for watching. try to have a good day. You know, sometimes I think maybe I'll go to the movies, but no, I have to get dressed and go out. Who wants to do that? No bueno. Not today. Not today. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you soon. Oh, next week I'm gonna be out of town, so no cooking on Sunday. And sometime when I travel, I try to find like a farmer's market, but next week is Easter. I'm gonna be in church in Guatemala. Okay? I will see you guys the following week. All right? Au revoir. Bye.